Alright, a little update on the Caprice here. I've been driving it yesterday and today, and really starting to get it dialed in, and it's doing pretty good. It's a built 6.2. It has twin low mount AGP turbos. I think they're 62, 66s or something. They're rated for 1100 horsepower, and I've had it together for a little while, but it's been little problems here and there, been aggravating, and really kind of got tired of it and frustrated with it and working on other stuff, and haven't had a chance to figure it out. But finally got some work on it, got it. It's coming around now, runs pretty good. I'm really happy with it so far. Turns out what it was is it's integrated with a Holley Dominator. It's back over here in the air box, and I had my 16 injector intake on it, and that nonsense. But anyway, as it turns out, I didn't really want to go that route with it this time. I was going to run my 2 fuel systems and everything, but I just decided to put the stock intake back on it and put my 210 injectors in it. The Holley's running spark and fuel, and the E38 and TCM and all is running everything else. So what it was, the shifts were, it felt so delayed, I guess you could say, on the shifts. When you come up, it was like I went into neutral on just part throttle driving, and when I went to the turbo kit, it changed the mass airflow sensor to this slot style, and I got the right mass airflow and everything, but since now it's running with the Holley, I really don't need the mass air except for the load calculation to shift the transmission. So I still had the values in there for the PPV, the stock PPV mass airflow. So the numbers were way off. I mean, I think, like in one instance on the lower numbers, it was 0.325, and on the cars that came with this, it was like 6. So it was quite a difference. I just found, I think it was like a 15 Camaro. I copied those values, pasted them into mine, just to get to see what effect it would have, and then instantly it started shifting properly under light throttle, and it doing a lot better. Now what I'm going to have to figure out is to go in the Holley and make it pull timing on the shift to try to help out the 6L80 the best I can with it. But it's running pretty good. There's still a couple little quirks and things I got to work out and fine tune on it. The startup idle, the way I did it is actually the E38 is running the throttle body, and I tried to get the signal from the throttle body and go to the Holley and do the TPS auto set with the Holley and the drive-by cable configuration, but there wasn't enough voltage swing on either of the any of the pins. I don't remember exactly what it was. I did it a while back, but I ended up going to the pedal, and one of the wires in the pedal actually had closer ranges, and I was able to do the TPS auto set, so that way I'll still have cruise control and all that stuff still works, whereas if I did it with the Holley, then I'd have to do a whole bunch of other stuff to make that work. The only problem with that is the idle. I'll have to tune the throttle body and HP tuners, which I actually just made a few adjustments in it, because the idles, it had the idle swing when you first cranked it up, it was just driving me nuts. So tighten that up, reduce the over under percent for correction, and that seemed to clean it up. And also I had to lose the the sensor on the oil pan that tells you when the oil level is low, because the pipe that comes through under here, the charge pipe down there, it snakes around. You can see it right there. It snakes around through here and comes right by the oil pan. And I mean, I had no choice. I had to unplug it to gain that extra clearance for that pipe to come through. Now, on the way this pipe's supposed to come through on Camaro is it comes through here and goes around and then comes under, but I had to go opposite that and go down and under and around to in here. So I mean, so far it seems to work. Haven't had any issue with it. And then the AGP intercooler that came with it was, I mean, it probably stuck up, you know, to like here, and it was way too tall. This is an old RPS intercooler that was actually on the LTD over there, but it was just way too tall, the AGP. When it was a really nice intercooler, I'll probably use it on something, I'm sure, another turbo project maybe. But so now it's on the ZL1 fuel pump. You can see I've got my this is my transducer for the Holley, so it's letting it know the fuel pressure, and it's still on the stock fuel pump for right now. These cars allegedly have the ZL1 pump, and I have gone in the fuel pump control module and turned it up actually, and so it'll increase pressure and boost and everything. But I've done a few baskets on these cars where I take the ZL1 pump out and put the Hellcat pump in it, but I really wasn't happy with how it worked out and laid out. I had a 450 on my other Turbo Caprice I built, the single turbo one, and it did fine, pressure held and everything. But with this one, you know, I'm wanting to go a little farther, so I've been trying to look at different options and scenarios and trying to figure out the best way. And really the problematic thing on these cars is it has the saddle tank, so you have to have the siphon pump to create a venturi to draw fuel from the saddle tank to this side, and I really don't want to mess with all that and deal with all that on this one. So since I've got the Holley integrated, what I'm going to do is I've got a 4303 Magna Fuel, and I'm going to do like there's an auxiliary pump that someone makes. I don't recall who it is right off, but they drill the tank and put a fitting in the tank, and they come around and they put an inline pump up here, like under the frame rail. It comes from the tank, comes under the car to the pump, and then the pump loops back around, and then they have a special fitting, focus, that goes back into the stock fuel line here, so the inlet from there tees in and you're still running the factory line. And then they run a some kind of proprietary thing, I'm sure, that plugs into the map sensor to turn the pump on when you're in power or whatever. But I mean, that's what, maybe a 3/8 fuel line at best. I mean, I'm not gonna get a whole lot of fuel through that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do their method as far as drilling the tank, having it go to a 4303 under the car, you know, wherever it'll fit well forward of the tank, and then I'm gonna run a check valve in front of it, and then run a -8 up here, and then Y into the factory fuel line. And then I'll probably get, I don't know how much these rails will support, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. I may have to get some different rails or whatever, but like I say, I'll when I get there, I'll mess with that. So then I'll have the 4303 come on and boost, and then feed the 210s. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to go back to the flex fuel sensor, and because it's on the discharge back by the tank from the factory pump, so it's right in front of the tank. So what I'll do is I'll run a wire to the Holly for one of my eye hose, and set up the flex fuel in the Holly, so then it'll run, so I can run the 85 in it and then really be able to turn it up. So this 6.2 has Steve Morris rods and pistons in it, and I dropped compression on it. I think it's about 9 or 9.2 to 1, and I don't know why I did that, but I did. I should have left it alone about 10 and a half to 1, but anyway. So it's still the stock 6L80. It's got I think this one's got a Summit converter in it. No, yeah, it does. I do have a Yank converter that my buddy bought to put in his when I did the cam and all, and his Caprice, and the lockup clutch was burnt up in it, so I might send it off and have it redone, and maybe see if they can custom spec it more for this combo. But this thing as it is right now, I haven't really gone over half throttle because of the fuel pump, number one, but it really runs good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I've got an output from the Holly running this. This is for the Scavenge pump. I had to relocate it to right here. The Camaro kit had it somewhere else, but I had to relocate it and buy new hose and everything to make it work. So far it seems to do okay. I know some people have complained about smoke and stuff, but I set this up where it runs about 30 seconds after you shut the car off, and with it wired into the Holly, it won't turn on unless the engine's running. So, basically set it up how you would a fan, where you set it up as, it won't give it signal unless it's above 400 or 800 RPM. And another problem I had was there's a stud under here that powers this fuse block, and I guess somebody called me or something while I was working on the car, or I got distracted or whatever, but I didn't tighten that nut, and that was one major problem I was having. I came out one day to drive it after I'd figured out the mass airflow thing, and lost all power. I couldn't even get the key out of the ignition and was just frustrated with the car again. So I ended up following these wires, because I had 12 volts there, and then as soon as I grabbed this wire, I heard everything ding and turn on, so I pulled this cover off, tightened that down, and I've been driving it since, and it's doing pretty good. I got I don't even remember, Forge Star wheels or something on it. I think they're 18s in the front, and then I did the 15 conversion in the back. They're 15 by 10s, and for some reason they decided that it needed 2 valve stems. Not really sure why they had to do that, but they're 15 by 10s. I had to do a lot of cutting and welding and grinding, and they still scrub when you get it tight in a curve, but it's 255/60 drag radial on it. And then I like I peeled the Chevrolet badge off and then kept it tattered like that. I thought it fit the character of the car. But it's got they're the Flowmaster FX mufflers, and then 3-inch pipes off of an old Krispy Kreme box truck. My neighbor let me cut it off his car, or off the box truck, and use for it, because I was running out of scrap 3-inch to cobble together the exhaust for it. I put a G8 wheel on it. It's much better than the crap that comes in these cars. And I did the G8 console swap I got from a local junkyard, and I need to get, somebody makes a 3D printed cubby or whatever to put there. I'd like to get one of those, but I wired in the tap shift so you can put it in there, but the delay on it seems pretty brutal. I'm not sure if I have it set up properly in the HP tuners or what, but I really don't like how horrible the delay is on the when you try to upshift and downshift. My Buick has it, and that thing is instant. So like I say, I don't know if I need to go in HP tuners and see if there's something with the tap shift that I need to change to make it a little more responsive. But anyway, once I run the rest of this tank out, I'm gonna take it out to the shop and put it on my new lift and do the fuel system and wire in the flex sensor, and then try to make some hits with it and see what kind of times it'll turn on the draggy.